if there are 100 people, 4 of them have a OnePlus, 8 of them have iPhone.
The thing is talking about having their own OS. God forbid, if your motherboard goes out, you will end up paying about 46,000 rupees.
अभी जो general sentiment है, it's like AI is hyped, overhyped.
You'll be amazed to know, for this past 1 year, I have only spent 1,000 rupees on that two-wheeler.
Oh my God.
That's about it. Okay, so hello guys, and you might be wondering what is this. So this is me and Mrinal, two people geeking out on tech. And is this a podcast? What are we doing? Is this news? We are not really sure. And we want you to comment, give us, is this something a name? But this is going to be a really fun, packed conversation. Something that we wanted to do for a very long time. And something that we were really hyped up about. And finally, it's happening. So, yeah, this is it. So, will there be guests? Will there be news? This thing is gonna go like really better over time. But yeah, so what's cool this week? What's cool in tech this week?
What's cool? I think there has been one report. I think everybody might have seen that IDC
it
report
came today,
IDC report
Yes.
of smartphones, the most sold
Correct.
smartphones, how they are comparing, कितना gap आया है, increment and all of that.
So these reports that we keep on hearing, what are the most popular companies that publish this report? Is it the brands that publish this report, or is this coming from some other agencies?
See, brand can only publish a report for them. Like if I'm Motorola, I can only talk about how much sales Motorola has made. I don't have the data for iPhone or IQ. Correct. So and also, how do I trust them? So it's usually done by a third-party, reputable agencies. So like there is one IDC or International Data Corporation, and then there is another one, Counterpoint. So these are two huge agencies that does that.
Okay. So the data is out for this, as far as I can understand, the data is out for this quarter 3,
Q3
2024.
2024.
So for our guest, for our audience, would you like to tell them who are the top 3 gainers this quarter? Top 3 companies that did really good, and who are the top 3 losers?
I think a lot of it is something that we have already expected. Since we do this day in and day out, we can already see kaun chalega. So of course, top 3 gainers would be Motorola, IQ. They have grown up with 100 and 150%. We will come back to that. The reality of
150%, because we hear this number quite a lot. Like company come out and we sold our flagship 1000% more than last year. So yeah.
So Oppo, Vivo, and Motorola and IQ, these are the top gainers. And yes,
see, smile, go for it.
iPhone. iPhone has grown by 50%.
I've seen this thing with iPhone users. I don't know if it is true or not. Since I think Apple is also an aspirational brand. Whenever an iPhone user talks about Apple, or whenever Apple accomplishes something, an iPhone user feels it's like a personal victory for them. Is it?
Is it?
Do they carry that Apple like on their chest, or a brand which I am really passionate about, or something like that? I've seen Apple users, like there's a smile.
Not just Apple users. If you swipe left on your Android phone, there's Google News. Out of 10, there is always one news of iPhone is sold for 49,000 rupees. If iPhone
gets attention.
iPhone gets attention.
Everyone knows about iPhone. So now these, so Oppo, Vivo combined. I mean different companies. Motorola, IQ, and Apple are the top 3 companies or top 4 companies that are the top 4 gainers for this quarter 2024, which is from the time period of, I believe, July to Q3. July to October, I guess. August, September, October. Yeah, August to October is the time period.
No, this is the Q3 of 2023 versus the Q3 of 2024.
No, 2024 only. 2024. So, and who are the top 3 losers?
Again, okay.
Quite expected.
Yeah, quite expected. So, see, Realme, that is the Samsung, they didn't do a lot of new updates, a lot of things in the M and F series. So, their market has gone. Realme, we know that not a lot of smartphones were launched in the Realme series like they used to do before. So, that, and then again, OnePlus. The OnePlus we all know, the green line saga going on. So, it was expected. Since we do videos, we know. Like, Oppo, Vivo, they do. We all know that Vivo V20 series, Vivo T series, they do tremendously well in offline. So they are getting that
So I think a lot of people don't know this, and this is kind of a myth. Like, since we live in this bubble, we think a lot of people buy phones online. Like everyone around us buys phone online. So what is the ground reality?
Yeah, I think in India it's mostly 51% is online and 49% is offline. Mota you can say 50-50. 50 phones, if there are 100 phones sold in India, 50 will be bought online, 50 will be bought offline. And both of them are
That's an interesting
growing.
way to put it.
Both of them are growing.
So if I take 100 smartphone users in India, how does it look like? Who uses what smartphone? I pick up 100 smartphone users in India. Who uses what smartphone? And this will also help us understand ki kya chal raha market mein, like what people are buying.
Interesting question. So I would have to like get it from top of my head, and this would be a rough estimation. So out of 100 smartphones that are sold in India as of 2024 Q3 from the IDC report, let's take that. So I think 16 would be Oppo.
Okay.
Oppo is on the top because of the offline. Then it will be Vivo. Vivo would be somewhere around 14. So that would be Vivo. Uske baad, surprisingly, Realme and Xiaomi, both of them will have 13 unit. So like they are still going down. When Xiaomi has been going down for almost 2-3 quarters now, but still they are at same with the Realme.
Still there are like equal amount of 13 Realme users and 13 Xiaomi users out of 100 smartphone users in India as of now.
Yeah. Then I think would be Samsung at 12. And surprisingly, Samsung is at 12. Then we will come down to Apple. Apple is at 8.5.
Oh my God. So out of 100 smartphone users in India, 8 of them have an iPhone.
8 of them have an iPhone. 2 years back, it was 2 people. Now it is 8.5. And this is a funny thing. Like I will come to it. OnePlus has 4% market share, which means if there are 100 people, 4 of them have a OnePlus, 8 of them have iPhone. So the number of iPhone users are double the number of OnePlus user right now.
And how much for Motorola and iQOO?
Yeah. So iQOO is, I think, if I'm not wrong, it's around 3%, 2-3%. And Motorola is around 6%.
Yeah.
So same thing, like iQOO was grown, Motorola has grown by 150%.
And year on year.
Year on year. But then you are coming from 1.5% approximately to 3% or 4%.
No, Motorola comes from 3% to 6.
3 to 6, yeah. And iQOO
comes from 1.5
to 3. So smaller you are, it's much easier for you to grow at 100%. But once you become big, it's very difficult to maintain that growth.
So if I have to see, and this might be very surprising. So out of 100 users, out of 100 smartphone users, if 16 of them use Oppo, 14 use Vivo, and 12 use Samsung, and 13 of them use Xiaomi and Realme, there are 8 people who use iPhone.
Correct.
That pretty much sums up the entire market.
I was also thinking, like, if we at TechWiser, we don't cover Oppo, Vivo, to some extent even Oppo, Vivo is something that we don't cover a lot. But since together they compromises of 25% of the market share of the entire smartphone chain, I think we should do more of them. What do you think?
It's not like we have not tried doing Oppo, Vivo. Vivo X series does quite well for us in terms of views and what the people want to see. Oppo has never really worked, but they have worked good for shots or if we do a flip phone. So the most premium Vivo Oppo that we do, that works well with our audience. So that is there. I think, but it's good to do. It's good to keep doing it. Either put it in a comparison, either put it in a best smartphone somewhere if that gets the slot. So okay, so now I'm a normal smartphone user who just buys phone off the internet, watches YouTube reviews and goes to find comparison, reads Amazon review, and I just buy a smartphone. So how does this report affect me, or how does this matter to me?
Interesting question. Like to be very honest, we run TechWiser. We are involved in producing so much content. So this is our bread and butter to know stuff. But if I'm a viewer and if who's just buying a smartphone, this report is not exactly useful to them. I will be very honest. Other than just keeping up tap with the market. But if you're an aspiring YouTuber, wants to get a job in creator economy, you know, like if I was there, I would have started with just reviewing iQOO and Motorola phones, the latest and the greatest, maybe the software, hardware, and the updates, because I know where the traction is coming.
Interesting. So let's. I think the topmost thing here is people are buying iPhones. So why do you think people are buying iPhones? Like, why are people buying more iPhones?
Very I think this is everyone would agree 3 ही reason हो सकते हैं जहाँ तक होते the biggest reason and iPhone has figured out the strategy in India is discounts. Discounts दो EMI पे दो it will work है ना. It works for every smartphone, so it will work for them. Second is aspirational value.
So what's the top 2 selling iPhone? If you're saying people are not buying the latest and the greatest iPhone in huge numbers, so what are the iPhones that people are buying?
Surprisingly, it's 13, 14, 15 series. Even in our
and the base one.
The base one, yeah. Even in our video, we said, if you are buying a new one, buy at least 16 or the 15 Pro because Apple Intelligence mil jayega. The data is clearly opposite of it. And which makes us wonder like how we should have recommended it in a sale time. Because people, they are just buying it now. Or they buy it on EMI. You know the reality of iPhone, na? Like you might have seen those videos. Yesterday, me and Sayan, we were just sitting and we were trying to book an Uber to CP from TechWiser office. So currently I'm using an Android phone and Sayan is using an iPhone. So it shows me like around 220 rupees on an Android and it shows him around 250 rupees on an iPhone. So the prices for the same place from the price from Android to iPhone, it's
for Uber. Rupees. This is Uber, right?
This is Uber, right? Okay. Yeah. It's more expensive, like 20-30 rupees more expensive. And not just that, like this got me all tinker up and I thought, let's try it more. और देखते हैं कहाँ पे क्या होगा. So we tried Make My Trip में flights. iPhone में the flights were 200-300 rupees more expensive. I tried to I booked a hotel. I was trying to book a hotel Radisson Blu. Android में 24,000, iPhone में 27,000.
Interesting. Was it the same Wi-Fi?
Same Wi-Fi, same date,
location,
same room, same time.
I know YouTube is quite expensive.
Yes.
YouTube is quite expensive if you buy via the App Store.
Yes, exactly. So see, I think if I'm not wrong, the data is on Android, the YouTube Premium for individual per month is 149 and it's the same, which is 150 on Android, you will get it for 195.
Achha. And that is per month?
This is per month individual plan without any student.
So if I buy via the App Store and I pay 45 rupees more on an iPhone for a month, and if I do it into 12, it's about 550-560 rupees more. They're paying on just one subscription.
One subscription. Same is the case with the Bumble as well. Bumble is also expensive. Don't ask me how I know that.
The research went too deep. So that's interesting.
See, this is the thing. I think this is one of the hidden cost of buying an iPhone. People buy. I'm not judging anyone. I also used to buy iPhone on the same price, and I recommend everyone. शौक है, अच्छा लगता है तो buy it. But you should also be aware that this is a hidden cost. Every time, like maybe it's 5 rupees, 10 rupees more for every Uber drive. Every flight you book, it's 100 rupees, doesn't matter. But think about it, it's long-term subscription.
Okay. And even do you want me to give you a crazy stat?
Yeah.
So we are working on a video where we are trying to compare every single brand, how much do they cost for a repair. And we are trying to rank them based on who's the most expensive to repair and who's the most cheapest to repair. And I'm not sure whether we'll do a full video or we might do a shorts, but I'm sitting on that data. And the interesting part is the most expensive to repair phone is guess who?
Most expensive? Like your brand or
brand
brand mein to I think iPhone
yeah. So if you buy an iPhone for suppose iPhone 15 for 50,000, the cost of suppose you get all the discounts, you jam up everything, you get your brand new iPhone, and then you just happen to drop it and your display breaks. You have to pay 25,500 to get the front display replaced. You have to pay 9,000 or about 10,000 to get a battery replaced, which is most common cost. You are gonna get it after 3 to 4 years. This is there. This is official prices, and of course the outside third-party repair service will be in proportion to this, but this is the cost. And God forbid, if your motherboard goes out, you will end up paying about 46,000 rupees to just replace
for a phone that cost
50,000 rupees.
Oh my God.
iPhone repair costs are crazy and something for which is made in India. And if I have to give you a perspective of Samsung, Samsung is about 1 by 10th, I guess. 1 by 10th cost. So they charge about 25,000, a Samsung would charge 5,000.
My God.
That's the difference.
This is just a razor and blade model.
Exactly.
Sell the razor for cheap and charge bonkers
Which
for
is not something like Apple should do, because the display is mostly the same. What other flagships are using. The battery is almost the same with what other people are using. There's no something great about that here. And plus, Apple is also not cool when you're going to repair their phone. If you break the camera, you put a third-party camera, the system doesn't play well with it. It won't even accept it.
Yeah, but these are all covered in 1 year, na?
These are all covered in 1 year, but if you're buying a 50,000 iPhone, you are gonna use it for 3 to 4 years.
Better get that Apple Care for 3 years.
Apple Care for 3 years.
Which will again cost you another 50,000.
Yeah. So that was the biggest gainer. And then we come to the biggest loser. So why do you think OnePlus is losing that market share?
I think in my understanding, and I think you will be able to add more, I can think of one reason is that green line issue. Green line issue, I personally know 2 to 3 people in my circle who have shifted out of OnePlus. And few of them have asked, like, I think this could change. You tell me about your thoughts on the OnePlus 13 and will that be the turning point for OnePlus? But what do you think? Other than the green line issue, why they are declining?
So you were the one who gave Oxygen OS the bottommost tier in your smartphone ratings, and people were pretty upset about it. But
it's gonna change now.
It might change. We tried the OnePlus 13. It has very good oxygen. Like, they have worked on it. Like, every time they come and say the speed and all, but it is genuinely good.
Yeah.
The green line issue was dealt pretty well. But then started the motherboard issue, where 2 to 3 year old previous OnePlus phones, like OnePlus 9, 10, 11, they started getting, you get an update and your phone goes into a hard brick or a soft brick. That's what started happening. And surprisingly, with the green line issue, they gave a voucher and everything. But with the motherboard issue, they are like, you'll have to pay for a motherboard. And guess, a OnePlus 11R costs about 30,000. Guess the price to replace the motherboard of it.
OnePlus 11R costs 30,000.
30,000 right now on Amazon. Guess the price of replacing the motherboard of it.
Like 15,000 extended.
Extended 15,000. Oh my god.
Kitta?
It's about 32,000.
Oh my god.
28?
28? 27.
Some 27,500. So it's like saying, if I go to a service center,
buy another OnePlus 11R.
Buy a new phone.
11R was a good phone.
11R
It was a good phone for its price.
So the entire image of it, although the green line issue has happened with lot of brands, but the limelight is always there. And the second reason, they lot of South Indian offline in South India, a lot of offline retailer shops banned OnePlus or boycotted OnePlus. So that also affected their sales tremendously. So multiple factors. So that's talking about that, I think the South Indian offline retailers boycotting OnePlus. So that led to a major decline in their market share. Hopefully, I believe the next quarter is not that high. It's festive season. No one buys that many phones during this time period. So hope the next year is good for OnePlus, and we would want to see our old OnePlus back. Like my first salary money, I bought a OnePlus phone.
Yeah.
So that how deep my relation with OnePlus is. OnePlus 3. And
now that is what people are doing with iPhone.
I didn't buy it on EMI. If that matters.
Yeah. By the way, guess which is the fastest growing brand in India?
Fastest growing brand in India. So it's not iQOO. It's not Motorola. It's not iQOO.
No. In terms of percent, it's very easy. They are also staying.
Oh, if you talk about YouTube views, I would say nothing.
Exactly.
Fastest growing brand.
Yeah. They have been just like we said. They have been growing with 100% of growth every year.
So nothing is talking about having their own OS, but yeah, that's.
Nothing. OS. Yeah, I also saw news about it, but I just was skimming through the news and I saw Nothing OS. I was wondering, why is it so special? Like recently they launched Nothing OS 3.0.
Oh, that's different. So if I just have to give you an idea, in smartphones there are two operating systems as of now. If it's an iPhone, it's iOS. If it is Samsung, Xiaomi, everything else, it's an Android made by Google. So suppose if I'm Xiaomi and I want to make a phone, I have a phone, hardware, everything. I get or buy the software from Google, and then I put a layer of my apps or a launcher and how it looks, all the customizations and optimizations, everything, and I make it HyperOS. So that is called an Android skin. So your One UI or your HyperOS, Realme UI, Oxygen OS, ColorOS, all of them are Android skins.
Correct.
Same. The Nothing OS 3 that launched is an Android skin.
Correct.
It's not a proper OS built from scratch. And now they are talking about making a third operating system built from scratch. So there will be an Android, there will be an iOS, and there will be phones working on Nothing operating system.
Most likely Nothing phones.
Yeah.
But then tell me one thing. If everything is working fine and we have two operating system, Android and iOS, what's the problem? Let it continue. Why fix something that is not broken?
So duopoly in general, like people might not know, but two companies ruling to the top on any market is not good for the consumers. Duopoly is not good for the consumers. We are already seeing that in Indian telecom scene. If Jio hikes the prices, Airtel hikes the prices. If Airtel hikes the prices, Jio hikes the prices. You have no option. You have to pay. You cannot go anywhere.
Not good for the customer.
Not good for the customer. Just like smartphone companies, there are a bunch of options. If company A doesn't sell a good phone, I can always go and buy company B ka phone. Or if like iPhone makes their phone 1.5 lakh or doesn't give a charger in the box, and if it matters to me so much, I can buy a OnePlus flagship. They have the charger in the box, costs half, about the same about the same speed or all of it. So competition is good in general for the consumers.
Correct.
And apart from that, there have been 2 or 3 cases with Apple and Google where you could see like how companies dominate the smartphone market. There's a very popular saying in Silicon Valley, he who controls the hardware controls the software.
Correct.
So in terms of, I think what happened is, suppose I am a music company like Spotify and I want to, that 30% cut that they have in the app store.
Right.
So suppose if I'm a music company like Spotify, I want to launch my music streaming app and give it to the people.
Correct.
So both Apple and Google, and for some reason, very in sync, charge 30%. So if I want to charge my users 100 rupees per month to get their music streaming, I have to pay 30 rupees to Apple and Google to launch my music streaming to the people. So now the subscription becomes 130 rupees. But then, when they see that this music streaming app is growing very popular and there are a lot of people who want music streaming.
Correct.
So Apple launches their Apple Music and Google launches their YouTube Music.
Correct.
And guess what? Now they will not charge 130 rupees for the music streaming app.
Correct.
They'll charge 100 rupees conveniently because they don't have to pay the 30 rupees cost to themselves.
Correct.
And then Spotify loses business.
Correct.
So there needs to be a third operating system which gives the app developers or people an option. Like if I don't like this, and there was a thread from Anupam Mittal who he was talking about, and it was on similar grounds of, and recently you would have heard of a lot of companies like Fortnite pulled out their app over there. Then the case ruling came and they said to put it back. Then there was a long tweet from Anupam Mittal saying how Google or Android bullies small players to pay 30% for them, but then they have exclusive deals with companies like Netflix.
Yeah.
Or Amazon Prime, because if you don't give Netflix in your smartphone, people will not buy your smartphone. मैं को movie कहाँ से देखूँगा? So that arrangement or that duopoly is not generally good for the market.
So let's say if two market players make it very difficult for the competition, there is a need for a third player. Correct.
Correct.
But अगर इतना ही demand होता, then सभी बना लेते हैं, है ना? It has been almost 10 years, 15 years. I have not seen any third operating system.
So there have been flashes here and there, like so the latest or the biggest attempt that we know of was Microsoft's Lumia smartphone.
Yeah.
They had their Windows on phone. What was it called? Was it called Windows? I don't think it was called Windows. What was the OS called? It was called Windows OS on
Windows Phone.
And there is a term called network effect. Usually why these operating systems fail is because lack of app support. There are not apps. So suppose there are 3 people in this room and all of us use WhatsApp and WhatsApp works on an Android and an iPhone. I go and buy a Microsoft ka phone and WhatsApp doesn't work on that. There is no reason for me to get. I would be more gravitated towards buying an Android and iPhone because my apps work on that.
Correct.
So that was the number one reason where Microsoft failed, due to apps, and even developers won't make. So this is a change.
Catch-22 situation.
Catch-22 situation. So developers won't make apps for a platform which doesn't have user. So ab user jayega nahi because of network effect, and developers won't make app because there's no user.
Right.
So if someone is able to figure out that loophole, that situation, then there can be a platform.
If I'm a developer, and nothing comes with his own Nothing OS, and Nothing has less than a 1%, 2% market share in India. So what incentive as a developer I have to build apps for Nothing OS?
Frankly, I don't see any. And even I think Carl Pei, the founder of Nothing, he said in a TechCrunch summit that we will not put 100% efforts to build an operating system, but we would be side by side putting 10-20% efforts to have a Nothing operating system, maybe down the line, because of all those AI restrictions and all of that. I like the company. I do like the company, and someone has to do it. Like, why not? Like, give it a shot. Go big or go home.
Yeah, it's a good initiative.
It's a good initiative, and I think AI is the trend wave which they are catching on. Maybe it works for them.
Achha, AI and smartphone. This is a bit off topic, but let's think about it. What do you think would be the next, or should be the next trend of AI in smartphone? Abhi jo general sentiment hai, it's like AI is hyped, overhyped. AI, if I think of AI, summarization, photo editing, photo में से गायब कर दो, हो गया. This is what AI is, है ना, मोटा मोटा. But what do you think would be more useful use cases of AI on a smartphone?
So we did a shorts on Rabbit R1.
Yeah.
So it was promising. Suppose I just pick up my Rabbit R1 and I say I just want to go to the airport, compare the prices on these 3 or 4 apps, and tell me which is the best app, or rather just book it for me.
Correct.
So my Rabbit R1 just picks it up and compares the prices on Uber, Rapido, Ola.
Correct.
Or I just tell, they used to call it large action model. And I think one of the aspects of AI that they are saying is AI could interact with software on your command and get you the desired results.
Exactly. Personalization. I also think the same thing.
So if something in smartphone, because there are too many apps and there are too many tasks. How I see AI is, I always see AI as this will save me 10x time.
Hai
If I have to do something, if AI saves 10x time to me, I'll happily accept
it. Correct.
Use
and
it.
If I see if we take personalization as a keyword for AI, summarization is not really personalized. तुम्हारा मेरा result same ही होगा summary का. If we remove someone from a photo, that is also no personalization. It will be the same in every phone. है ना? Video converters भी हो गया, image to video, image to text, same thing. Yeah. The personalization in AI is still not happening. And I think this is what AI fundamentally is. Train data and then produce personalized result for you.
So yeah, if AI is able to do in my like book flights for me in smartphone, book Uber rides for me, take me home, charge my stuff and all of that, automatically I just have to say it a command, then I can waste more time in Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts.
Their AI is very good. Personalizing recommendation for your Instagram.
So I can waste more time in
Instagram has the best algorithm ever currently in terms of personalization.
Oh, I love Instagram ads. They are so bang on. They are so bang on, like I want to buy. They are so good.
True.
So now coming back, you were very excited about an app that you found out last week.
Last week, yeah.
Yeah, and what's new in AI?
What's new in AI? So how, like I like to try a lot of apps. Sometimes I even ended up wasting $30 on services that doesn't even work.
Oh, some AI website didn't give you money back.
I'm talking to their founders and stuff, and they are sending me mail back and forth like this is how you can access the site, but it's not working. But we'll try to figure it out. One thing that has recently changed my life, and this is a big word, changed my life, but actually genuinely it has. I like to consume a lot of data. I like to read a lot. I like to watch a lot of videos. Not because this is one of my work, but I genuinely like to like a lot of if I don't read a lot, by the end of the day I don't feel happy. So I like to consume as much as
it's like podcast. Running for me. Yeah.
Running for me. Jitna zyada data aa sake na, the more data I have. And it was very difficult. That time nahi hai. You don't have enough time to listen to 3 podcasts a day, read 5 articles. If you have a research paper, read that as well. Possible hi nahi hota. So recently there has been an update on notebook.lm. It's a tool by Google, and उसमें क्या
Is it open for India now? I remember it was not open for India. You can access it in India?
Yeah, it's you can access it in India. So it's very simple. Just open up your computer or even on smartphone, go to notebook.lm.com and click on the first result on Google. So it will open up a window. वहाँ पे you can create a new note and then you can import anything you like. You can import an article, a YouTube video, you can import a PDF file, basically, or any link. Basically anything that you want. You can even import MP3 files, which I will tell you how I use it. So you can import everything, then it will generate an AI summary for it, flashcards, and you can do Q&A on this. This is basic. But now with the recent update, if you click on a button, it can also convert everything into a summarized podcast.
Oh.
Yes, and the podcast is, oh my God. This is, it's mind-boggling good. The podcast, it's like two people having a conversation in terms of a podcast, a male and a female voice. It's very interactive.
So you give it like a tremendous amount of data and it uses the data and it converts it into two people having a conversation in the form of podcast. And since it's Google, Google is the biggest podcast platform, so they can use that data and have like super natural flowing conversation which explains you complex data in a very conversation
complex
format.
Data in a very like genuinely this is a game changer for me. Now like recently, if you know, Lex Fridman did a podcast with the founder of Claude. Anthropic. It was a 5.5 hours of podcast. There's no way anyone can see that.
Lex Fridman podcast.
Everybody was doing a podcast of 31 hours. Lex Fridman was doing 2 hours. Now people have started doing podcast. Average podcast is what, 2 hours now. Lex Fridman has moved on to 5.5 hours.
Oh my God.
So 5.5 hours of podcast I wanted to watch, but कैसे देखेंगे?
I sleep 6 hours. I sleep 6 hours.
Just put a link there. It will give you a summary of 30 minutes and I can just listen to that podcast. बीच में कोई question आया, I can even ask Gemini in the Q&A box. It will answer me. This is really game. I think everybody should try it out.
So it's fine, like, but it's fine. We were saying कि summary तो is general for everyone. Podcast डाल दिया बस. You can do text to voice. What's new in this?
This is a good question. Like even first when I think I heard it from couple of YouTube videos. So even I was thinking before trying it out कि it's just basically a summarization where you can ask Q&A and एक text to speech पे podcast ही बना दिया अच्छे से. But there is a one big but which is a game changer. So let's say Lex Fridman recently did a podcast on AI which was mostly with the Anthropic founder, and then Google ex-CEO Eric Schmidt, he also did a podcast with Diary of CEO. That was mostly the tonality was that was a positive effect of AI, that was a negative effect of AI. And I cannot watch both of them. Right? One is 5 hour long, one is 3 hour long. So I want to extrapolate what are common between all of those podcasts and different in both of the podcasts. So you can create a notebook and give it to multiple sources. So one source was this, the other source was this. I put both of them and then I asked Gemini, what is difference in the point of view of both the podcast? If to know that answer, I will have to watch 7 hours of the content. But this way, I will know directly with the उसके result में. It can help me extrapolate both the videos. And this is what I'm guilty of trying in the Vivo X200 video. I put a podcast, the video of TechWiser, B-Bomb, C4E-Tech, and all the other popular YouTuber whoever did a video on it. Put all of them in the podcast and then ask them what are the opinions that is similar in all 4 videos and what are the difference, and it was phenomenal.
So you give it all the Vivo X200 top 10 videos that it has done and you ask them what are the opinions where all YouTubers agreed and what are the opinions where all the YouTubers disagreed.
Correct.
And it could give you exact pinpoint what was there in the video.
Exactly.
And how much time did it took?
The audio feature took like 1 or 2 minutes if you want to create it, but that thing not more than 30 seconds.
30 seconds. So you're telling me that there are 10 YouTube videos. Each of them would be roughly 8 minutes. So 80 minutes of research you are getting it done in just 1 minute 30 seconds.
Exactly.
That's roughly 10x.
10x,
Easy
right?
10x.
Easy 10x. You should try it out.
You should try it out.
Remember, I
And
also
stop
told
making
you the
YouTube
MP3
videos.
MP3 feature. Remember, I told you. So imagine, like on Samsung, there's a feature which will automatically record your audio calls. है ना? So let's say if I'm having 10 audio calls with a client, है ना? A team member has a 10 audio clients with 10 different customer. Now I want to see how they are interacting with their customer, and I want to like get a customer feedback notification, satisfact notification. I will import all 10 files, put it there in a one notebook, and you can select up to 50 sources. So I can provide 50 audio files and then say what is the tone of the conversation, and it will give me, I will say how did they reacted to this thing, like the standard question. It will give me the answer for that.
Even crazy. What if you record interviews of 10 different candidates and give all the recordings to Notebook LM?
Correct.
And then tell them, this is my job requirement. Tell me which of them match exactly and which of them don't qualify. Can it do that?
Depends. If the questions that you have asked in the interviews are same, like if you are asking 5 same questions to all the 10 candidates, then it will be able to see the answer of those 5 questions and extrapolate. But if the answers are like question, and it also hallucinate a lot. Like the couple of times I tried to import that Lex Friedman podcast for 5.5 hours, it didn't even work. So वो hallucination तो AI में है, था, रहेगा.
So for that time to go 1.5 minutes, you also have to struggle for 5 minutes.
Correct.
But still 10x.
This is mine. If anyone's work is a lot of research, breaking down complex things, like another example, the other day I have to compare 2 rent agreements. I sent a rent agreement to my landlord and he made some changes. We all know rent agreements is like what, 5 pages. Who has a time to read 5 pages? वो भी 2 बार. So I just imported 2 rent agreement and asked a very simple question. Tell me what is different. What points have changed? एकदम सही जवाब.
Nice. This is very interesting.
है ना?
So what I can assume from this conversation is, one, if in smartphones you get an AI that can do tasks or actions for you, like
personalized things.
Deal with apps on your behalf and get work done for you like a proper assistant.
Correct.
That is a very good side. Second, what we can see right now with Notebook LM is it does 10x faster research than you. So it's like as good as having a content researcher or an intern who does the research for you and gives all the rough data to you. That guy does, Notebook LM does it 10x faster.
Right. I think currently AI is saving time.
I think the major sentiment with AI is it will save time.
Personalization is more with B2B. Google algorithm, Instagram algorithm, this is also AI. And they are able to personalize it for the audience. But that personalization, like very simple example, my phone knows that every Tuesday I go to gym. So personalize my Spotify music for my gym before I leave, or I have or personalize my home screen setup when I'm at office and when I'm at home. Very easy to do. There are many apps that does it. So and AI can do that personalization, but that sort of a pitch is still not coming. What you get is mostly the same thing. The AI in your phone is same as AI in my phone.
Interesting. I remember that Tuesday because I asked you to pick me up from somewhere because I gave my scooty for servicing. I remember that Tuesday gym.
Oh yeah. So how's your experience with EV so far? I think you have been driving EV for almost a year.
Almost a year. So EVs you have to service after 1 year, and you will be amazed to know for this past 1 year, I have only spent 1,000 rupees on that 2-wheeler.
Oh my God.
That's about it.
For the entire year?
For the entire year, I've just spent 1,000 rupees on my 2-wheeler EV.
This includes everything?
This includes everything.
The electricity charges?
So that's how it works. Since I stay in Delhi, up to 200 units, electricity is free. And it takes only 4 to 5 units to charge it fully from 0 to 100. So it's very hard to track, but mostly free electricity is where I'm charging at. And EVs, you only have to service after 5,000 kilometers. And I was just under 5,000 kilometers, but I only completed in 1 year. And there's no engine oil change, nothing, none of that. Everything was super fine. I just paid under 1,000 rupees on that scooter for the entire year.
Interesting. What about repair cost? Is it covered under warranty?
manufacturing defects are covered under warranty. So if something breaks or something manufacturer wise fails, then you have to get it repaired, but the normal wear and tear, it's like a smartphone.
Okay, so tell me one thing. Let's say I'm 25-year-old, I want to go to office, then maybe a market occasionally. So that's about it in a city. So should I even get an EV?
See, as far as I have understood, the reason to get an EV is there is an environmental aspect at it. It doesn't let out smoke and all of that. There are two sides and argument to that, but environment is there. I also feel good about it. I've done something good for the environment. But the real reason to get an EV is the cost, is the money that you save. It's 10 times cheaper than having a petrol vehicle. So suppose I'll give you that example. If to go 100 kilometer, if I pay 200 rupees on a normal petrol scooter, on an EV, I'll be paying 20 rupees in terms of electricity. So it is 10x cheaper to have an electric vehicle. Another cost is the maintenance cost and all of the part of it. Like an electric scooter, you will have to service 5,000 kilometers per year. For me, it is coming like I have to service it only once a year. So now this is the first service. The cost will gradually increase because there will be parts breakdown and all of that. But it is not as frequent as a petrol vehicle. Petrol, if you drive it harshly, you have to do every 2,000, 3,000 kilometers, or then you can stretch an Activa to 4,000, 5,000 kilometers as well. Whereas in an Activa, you have to replace the engine oil frequently, there's lubrication and all of that. So overall, an EV is cheaper to maintain as well as the running cost of it is cheaper. Now again, if the battery goes off after 7 years, 8 years, that's a very big cost that you'll have to replace, but wo to major time will go by that. So if you are riding it in a city and you need a secondary vehicle and it's not your primary, like you will not always take it out or you want it for emergency situation, then an EV for a daily commute works well. You will save money on that.
So one reason is sustainability and environment, other one would be saving money. जो मेरे को सबसे पहला क्वेश्चन आएगा, if I have to do Noida to Gurgaon, let's say on an EV, and I just open my EV and it's like at 30%. Now what?
That's the most problem of an EV. Like no matter how much they advertise and companies won't tell you, public charging stations just don't work as of now. The problem is, suppose if I have a petrol scooter and I don't have petrol in it and I just want to go from Noida to Gurgaon, I'll just go to any petrol pump, go fuel my petrol and go. I can make random plans. But with an EV, you will have to search for a public charging station. Ather is the best in terms of public charging stations, but then again, you will have to make a stop of at least 1 hour because 1 hour mein it goes 80%. And God forbid if there is a line.
80% on a fast charge.
On a fast charge. All public charging stations for Ather is fast charge. The rest of them I'm not very sure of. There's Ola, Hero shares a bunch of it with Ola.
If let's say I'm going, my EV is at 30% and I'm going from Noida to Gurgaon and I can take a pit stop of maybe an hour at my friend's place, वहाँ तो fast charge नहीं मिलेगा. Will it still work?
You just have to find a 3-pin point there. Wherever you park your scooty, you can easily charge it.
What would be the speed? Like, let's say by the time I reach
there... So Ather takes about 5.5 hours. Ola, I remember, takes roughly like 8 hours. 6 hours to 8 hours. So that is the time.
It would be a very tight call.
Yeah. And no matter all the public charging stations, if there's a waiting queue, if someone is charging in front of you and that guy has to charge for 1 hour and you also have to charge for 1 hour, there's 2 hours stoppage. So for a 1 hour ka journey, you cannot afford to take a stoppage of 2 hours.
Just book an Uber or something.
So right now, public charging stations as of now doesn't work that way.
You drive an Ather?
Yeah, I drive an Ather.
How's your experience so far?
How's your experience so far? So if I have to divide EVs right now, there are 2 types of companies that are making an electric 2-wheeler vehicle. One is the traditional companies, your Bajaj, TVS and all of that, who are giving an electric vehicle as an option. And then there are new companies, maybe tech company, energy company like Ather, Ola. They are also making an electric vehicle. For me, one thing was Ola had a lot of bugs, so I couldn't go for that. Ather was very close to a traditional scooter. It has a key, all the buttons work like a normal scooter, normal Activa, and what all you can touch and do, you can also do through the buttons. So it was very easy to use if you're coming from a normal Activa. That's why I went for an Ather, and Ather word of mouth and the community thing is very good. So Ather made like a very good choice. And overall experience, I haven't faced a lot of bugs. There was an occasional bug. There was a tweet that went like really viral.
The Noida-based
Noida-based video producer, but I was just having fun at that. Like, it doesn't happen that frequently, but there is that random, still happens with my Ather. What happens is, there will be an update midnight, and in the morning when I go, either it will reboot once when I first started, or either there was an update and it rebooted at night and it stopped charging for the entire night. So there's that occasional thing, but nothing fatal, because चाबी डालो चलती है. That's the entire thing that I liked about the Ather.
I can totally confirm the community wala part. So recently we were there in Bangalore. There was an Ather community event. We were there, and they also called like thousands of community members. And we have attended a lot of events, at least 20-30 of the events. In that is the only event where I have seen Ather guys was generous enough to feed mutton to thousands of people, thousands of community people. That was the first and the last time I saw it. So yeah, community part bang on.
Ather community is very strong.
Very strong community.
The word of mouth and all, I think that works pretty well. So
yeah, now you also said that like Ola has a lot of bugs, and I have also heard about it from a couple of team members.
A couple of people in TechWiser use an Ola EV.
So what is the bug situation? And I think there was Kunal Kamra, and a lot of controversies were going on Twitter about Ola. So क्या था वो?
So this is the ground reality. I have used Ola for about 15 days and a month, and we occasionally switch in the office just for testing, and I also ride an Ola. So number one thing that we face problem, talking about the public charging station. So there was a public charging station just beside our office, and Ola promised to open the Noida one. It's here. So whenever you wanted to take that random ride, or you forgot to charge it overnight, you would take the Ola over there, just keep it for charge, come back to the office and just take it back after 5-6 hours over there, and the charging is done. So Ola now promised to increase the number of charging stations, and guess what? That even the only charging station that worked around this area, even that stopped.
Closed?
Yeah, closed. There is a Ola showroom, but they don't charge now. So they don't charge the EV now.
So where is the charging station?
Fine, they show you in the app, but some of it is functioning, some of it is not functioning. It's very random. So the public charging station.
Go there, and a month before there was a charging station. Now if I go back and there's no charging station.
So the charging station was a 3-pin plug point that they took from inside the office, inside the showroom, and just give you a plug point outside. That was the charging station.
That was.
So there was no poles or anything like that.
That's it.
They have a 3-pin.
But it was a fast charge.
No, it was not fast charge.
How is it then different than charging my shop, let's say in a Pan Bhaiya wala shop with my own charger?
They won't let you charge. So yeah, that was the thing. And then another one, what happened is recently.
So what you're telling me, out of, sorry to cut you in, out of all the charging station network that I see in the map, Google Maps, about the Ola or maybe even the Ather, those are not fast chargers.
No. Ather only has fast charger outside. They don't do normal charger. Ola, it's a mix of hyper charger, which is their fast charge, or a normal charger.
Do they tell them in the Google Maps?
Yeah. You can see in their own maps. But maps may they tell you it's functioning, but in our experience so far, a lot of them don't function that well. It has been a 50-50 case, or rather 70 not hit, 30 hit.
Interesting. So what you're telling me, Ola has bugs, charging station is also finicky. Then why is Ola selling so much?
And another interesting scenario. So recently we wanted to service the Ola S1 Pro, and the service center over here would not take it for servicing. He said, we are full, we cannot service your scooter. And then we went ahead and we found out another service center some 3-4 kilometers, 5 kilometers away from here, and that guy said, I'll only partially service it because I don't have the entire equipment or spare parts. So I'll not change the brake pad and everything, but I'll partially service your scooter. So now you have the scooter, you are ready to pay the money to service it, but service center can't service it.
Very interesting.
So the ground reality is quite different.
But again, the same question. Ola, I think in the recent they sold like 20,000, 30,000, 35,000. 42,000 a month they are selling. Ather is what, 7,000-8,000? So 15,000. Still triple the difference, 3 times difference. So why is Ola selling so much in India?
I think number one thing that they did like really good was the range for the money that you pay. I still Ola on road is the max range you can get on a two-wheeler scooter. There is also a simple one and all of that. They are available in limited areas, or you can just pre-order. There's not available entire India. So Ola as of now is the maximum range that you can get on a scooter, and plus the features. Indians love features, so they have a lot of features. Whether you will use it or not, there's a Bluetooth speaker. Why would you need a Bluetooth speaker on a city riding scooter? It's not even on highway. And then you have profiles and all of that stuff. So, वो feature है, full on tech. Buttons are different, everything is different. You don't have to take a key. You just sit on the scooter. Your app will be there. So proximity mail it will unlock. Whether it works or not, but those are cool features. So range and all, they are bang on. Like that sentiment works. And now TVS, I think, sells one electric scooter. It has 2-3 versions of it. Ather about has like 4 scooters. There are variations of the engine and range, motor and range, and Bajaj has one, that is Chetak. Ola serves from 90,000 up to about 1.6, 1.7 lakh. So they have lot of scooter, what do you call it, electric scooter variants, SKUs or variants, and they cover a very big price range. So that's why it is very enticing to get an Ola. And number 2, not only Ola sold well, but even Bajaj, Ather, everyone had good numbers this month. Also, Ola had to give a lot of discount. They were selling the scooty as low as 50,000 rupees. Get that. You can get half the price a petrol vehicle, you can get an electric scooter.
Damn. So, if I have to summarize, Indian love, good cost, good range, lot of features, and then what was the fourth point?
Options. Like there are options.
SKUs.
Yeah.
SKUs.
At every price point, there's a good option. If you go, you can get a electric scooter around 1 lakh rupees. If you want something, you can get it around 1.1, 1.2. You can get for 1.5, 1.6, 1.7. So they have for every 10,000, starting from 90,000 rupees to 1.5 lakh, depending on the offer. They have a scooter for every price range.
Even though there is a lot of bugs and controversies going on, the ground reality of the service center, it still sells the most.
So one theory for that is all of these people who are buying an electric vehicle are first time users. Electric vehicles in general of the entire two-wheeler market is only 10%. So if there are 100 scooters sold in India, 10 of them are electric. And out of those 10 electric scooters, 3 is an Ola.
So yeah, it was a great session. A lot of myth got busted today.
And I think it's already 12:05. We are shooting late at night, and I don't know how much this is. This is about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I don't know and how much of it will go there. But this is the first time we are doing it. We might have missed up numbers somewhere here or there. Or so if you have any suggestions or any comments about it, how we can improve this, like we really want to do this better for you guys. So let us know in the comments any suggestion or in terms of format. We are open to try it out the next time.
Sure. Let's go then. Peace out.
Peace out. Pew pew.